Hello everyone, my name is Barry Sykes. I'm the Artist in Residence working with the ICIA at the University of Bath for this academic year 2013-14. I started a few months ago and up to the end of the academic year. My talk is called Imagine Being Here Now, which is actually a title I stole from Lucy Lippard, the art historian and sort of cultural theorist. She says that Imagine Being Here Now is a title that I have for years offered up in advance when I'm still unsure what I'll speak about, but also because I enjoy the paradox. So that, for many reasons that felt appropriate to me. She always then adds, when she's worked out what she's going to say, a subtitle, which mine is today, attempting to explain my ad hoc research methods and recent findings of the artist in residence. Essentially, talk about talking about it. So, brief background in my practice. I do sculpture, works on paper, found objects, interventions into gallery spaces, a lot of residencies, all sorts of things, often very skipping between different types of media. I quite like to approach things I don't really know about, I suppose. I also do a lot of talks in various contexts, various subjects and various kind of levels of theatricality, I suppose. And also I'm a massive fan of PowerPoint. The idea, this kind of, I'm quite taken with this idea that you kind of project this ghostly image that then has to be narrated live by a person. There's something quite antiquated about it. My first talk I did here was a PowerPoint talk using the voting turning point system, asking the audience a set of quite rhetorical, maybe slightly provocative questions about how I could conduct myself on the residency. And using their answers, it kind of gave me a path of how I could progress through my time here. I have, in many ways, we'll find out at the end whether I've succeeded in those respects. Essentially, my subject on the residency, I discovered, was going to be the campus itself. I came with an open brief and very quickly I realised that was what I was interested in, and specifically my usefulness on campus and the campus's usefulness to me. As you know, it's a self-contained sort of place, and quite intangible in many ways. So I started out, first of all, by going to the library, pacing up and down the corridors over the summer break and photographing books that leapt out to me as interesting. And then also going through the directory of expertise and the person finder, trying to find people who I might be able to start a conversation with as an artist at a non-arts university. Some of these I've already begun working with, others I'm testing the relationships of, I suppose. The other thing I did the last time I was up here was I found myself starting to do a walk around the very perimeter of the campus, trying to find out what was at its very edge. So this is the line I took as I walked around, going from sort of the car park behind the feeling like a prowler behind the halls and an odd character going around tennis games in progress. The term I've used to kind of define the residency is the International Hermit Conference. This is my big idea, which, as well as being a paradox and an impossible, absurd event, is also the idea of retreating into architecture with an idea and pursuing it. So I've become very fascinated by the interiors of very specific rooms on the campus. For example, the lecture theatres. I'm a big fan of Nick Delves-Broughton, the campus photographer's photographs of the lecture halls, like this one here, and also been trying to move around and get access to all these amazing facilities and specific rooms on campus, be it wind tunnels, dojo, sports hall, concrete testing lab, archives. And also I found myself walking around campus taking admittedly very boring photographs with my phone. I've quite a large collection of them now. The boringness wasn't the ambition, but I've realised that's what they are, and so I'm now trying to work out what that is. One of the first concrete projects that started is working with the Year 3 architecture project to design a cultural centre in Hungary. I was invited to provide the art to go into that cultural centre, which led me to actually devise a whole new series of hypothetical works exploiting, I guess, the freedoms that gave me, including borrowing 2 really large mirrors from different locations, the rehearsal room 1 from RADA in London and the mirror from the Great Ross Telescope, 6 foot high in the Science Museum, and placing them in the gallery space. Also another project where I could find the 8 copies of the 1987 Los Angeles Yellow Pages based on a J.G. Ballard quote that's too complicated to go into now. And finally, an idea for generating a public sculpture where the architecture students got to pick a font that they really hated. They had to scale it up to their height and extrude it to the length of their arm, and therefore immediately having a piece of work to set outside the building. I've also now developing projects that are going to happen with the sociology faculty, engineering, school of management and things like that. But this is where I'm at now. Thank you very much.